What's up, everybody? Episode 290 of Top Rope Nation. Ryan Drosty, Justin Joint, and a very special guest who I will introduce momentarily, here to break down and preview WWE WrestleMania 39, all the big matches scheduled for this weekend, our predictions for those matches, and just some general thoughts on the show itself. Justin Joint, first of all, sir, how are you doing tonight?
Doing good, man. Long time no talk.
Last night, for patrons of Top Rope Nation, we recorded an almost 3-hour look back at WrestleMania 17, our monthly Top Rope Nation classics. The video of that is available on the Patreon page right now. Podcast version will drop for patrons by the end of the week. The longest podcast, Justin, we have ever recorded was last night. And here we are again, night 2.
Yeah, we know how to get her done.
Although amazingly, Justin, out of those almost 3 hours we did, I never cracked the tequila. I had the tequila bottle here. I had the Terramana because we were talking Rock Austin. I thought it made sense. I never opened it up, but I got it here tonight. So
conversation was too good.
Mm-hmm. That's right. So Kyle was with us last night. He couldn't make it tonight. Kyle will be back this weekend. Actually, it'll be next Monday morning. I guess I'll just tell the listeners right away. This is the schedule for the rest of the week. Preview tonight. We're going to be talking night 1 on Sunday morning. And then next Monday morning, we'll be recapping night 2. Justin will be with me to recap night 1, Sunday morning. Myself and Kyle. Monday morning as well. Might have a special guest for one of those 2 shows as well. Not confirmed yet, but I will let you know maybe in the Facebook group. So join the Top Rope Nation Pro Wrestling discussion Facebook group. We're talking all things pro wrestling all the time over there. And our special guest on the line tonight, he's a member of the Facebook group. He's been a longtime supporter of Top Rope Nation. He's been on the show numerous times as well. I'm not sure. Is this maybe 3 or 4? But let me just introduce him. Of course, he is the number 2 biggest Bret Hart fan in the state of Iowa. Behind only my... Oh, I'm just kidding. You might be number 1, Ryan. Ryan Huffman, welcome to Top Rope Nation. How you doing, sir?
Good. I'm doing great. Got to beat you to that restaurant bar in Calgary, and then that'll number 1. But
that's right.
Doing real well. Getting pretty excited. I'm actually flying out to WrestleMania on Thursday morning, so looking forward to getting into SoFi Stadium and seeing what's going to be in front of me.
Very nice.
You know, we're all big Bret Hart fans here, but at the very least, you know, Huffman is the number 1 Bret Hart versus Vince McMahon at WrestleMania 26 fan. That's for sure. Is true.
Check out the Bret Hart draft in the archives. That was his final pick, round 5.
It was about finishing the story.
Yes.
Well done.
Do you even know, Ryan, how many times you've been on the show now? Because you did the Bret Hart draft.
Yeah, I think this is maybe 3 or 4. I did a review of one of the AEW shows. I can't remember if it was Full Gear or not. So this might be my third or 4th.
Okay. Yeah, that's right. Very nice. Well, good to have you back. Glad you could come on tonight. We've been planning this for a while, so it should be a really good show. Looking forward to it. We are streaming right now on the SEScoops YouTube channel. We're streaming on Twitch. We're on Twitter. We're on Facebook.com. Follow us, all of those places. Also, we have a YouTube channel. Check that out. The show will be up there on demand after we're done going live. So just a big shout out to SEScoops for letting us live stream on their channel to reach more listeners and viewers. And of course, shout out to Blue Wire. We've been a member of the Blue Wire podcasting network now for over 3 years, which has been fantastic for us. And I gotta say, since this show started in 2016, that makes this the 7th WrestleMania that we have covered on Top Rope Nation. And I don't know how the rest of you feel, but for me personally, this is probably the least excited I have been for a WrestleMania out of all of those. Personally. Not counting the pandemic one. This is probably my least excited WrestleMania. You, Justin?
Oh, yeah, no, I mean, obviously 36.
Yeah, that one I can't really count in the same vein, but
At 37, I was excited just because we're kind of getting back to normalcy a little bit.
Mhm.
But 35, I don't know how excited I was for that.
I mean, it had the Kofi thing. Becky was at her apex.
That's true.
More into that one. I mean, yeah, to your point, 37, we had like kind of the partial crowd coming out of the pandemic a little bit. That was exciting. Last year, yeah, we had Roman and Brock again, but also it was like the first Mania with a full crowd in many years. I am looking forward to Roman and Cody, and that's going to be the first one we talk about here. And yeah, the KO Sammy stuff to a lesser extent. I just can't say the card is really drawn me in that much, though. I mean, I know
Ye
everyone's talking about WWE Creative being better in the last several months, but still, I don't know, man. Maybe I'm out to lunch here, but for me, it's just the excitement's not quite there for me.
I would say my excitement level is pretty comparable to last year because last year was just all based on what was gonna happen with Austin, which
True.
paid off well, but outside of that, there wasn't much for me to look forward to, so, I think this card is looking better than last year at the very least. I mean, it's the best looking card probably in a few years, um,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah,
even having said that, there's still only, like, 4 matches I'm actually looking forward to.
well, that's what I'm saying though. Like the card is decent. It's this we say this like every time there's a WWE pay-per-view. Like in the ring, it's probably going to deliver. I just don't know like storyline wise how hyped I am about this. But you go ahead, Mr. Huffman. What is your excitement level for this show?
Well, since I'm going, I'm pretty excited, but I would say pretty much along the same lines as last year. I feel like kind of the core matches at least have all been a little bit longer build up, which we'll talk about as
Mhm.
we get going. But I'm pretty excited just seeing it in SoFi Stadium. I know when the rumor a few years ago when they were going to maybe go to LA, I was looking at going. I was in town for 30, the one after the pandemic. I was in town for that, but we didn't actually attend. So this will be my first one since 33. So, but yeah, there's a lot of matches on there. I'm not sure that I would say are like a WrestleMania match. Which,
So
Caliber, yeah.
what made you pull the trigger on this one for the first time since what'd you say, 33 was the last
yeah,
time you saw
33
one?
is the last one that I've been to live. I've considered going last few years. Actually, my older brother and I'm just going on a brother's trip where I'm getting married this summer. So we've never been to California. It's always kind of just been on the bucket list there. So we're doing a lot of LA stuff and I'm a collector of autographs, so I love going to WrestleCon. Like
Mhm.
that's probably my favorite pro wrestling event, to be honest. But getting out to SoFi, checking that out. Might wear some like a Raider hat or something just to make all those Charger fans happy. But so
Nice. Yeah, I mean, anytime you're going to the town, it's gonna add to the hype a little bit. Like us three with Kyle when we were at 34 made me pretty excited about that year. 33, it was the first year we covered it on the show. 35, we talked about, and then 36, it's like, oh, pandemic, empty arena. So I mean, again, I'm not trying to be a downer, but it's just my excitement level for WWE has not been high for quite some time. Although I am very intrigued by the main event. So let's start there. Cody and Roman Reigns. It's not a guarantee Cody Rhodes is going to win. It does feel likely. Then again, you could see WWE pushing forward with Roman to get to the 1,000 days. I mean, when are they going to ever have a champion again that could get to that, in the modern era? So you got that on one hand, but on the other hand, it's like, man, he's gone this many years without losing the title. And Cody Rhodes, we said it, last spring? We were saying
I
on the
think
pod.
right after WrestleMania.
Yeah, we were
You and
saying
me
he should
said
be
it.
the guy.
Yeah.
So here we are a year later, and he feels like he should be the guy. Roman's gone through pretty much everybody. If he wins here, there's the question of where does he go next? There's been rumors about Roman taking some time off. Of course, if he does that, he's dropping the title, most likely. I mean, they could do something with Seth. Seth is pretty over with the crowd. I mean, I could see that. But if I'm picking here, I think I got to go Cody. I mean, the story has been in a card where the stories haven't really drawn me in that much outside of the bloodline stuff and Sami Zayn, this story is very good. Obviously, the emotional tie-in with Dusty Rhodes. Cody feels like it's the time to do it. So I will go with Cody. I think they're going to pull the trigger. That's where I'm leaning right now. You, Mr. Huffman.
Yeah, I would agree. I think they're gonna go Cody. I don't know. I might be kind of the downer saying this. I don't know. Cody Rhodes for me is just kind of an interesting one. I think it's been a pretty great story. A year ago I was sitting in your house when Cody returned, and that was pretty exciting. But I keep thinking about 16 months ago being at an AEU or AEW pay-per-view in Minneapolis and just booing the guy like crazy. And the whole crowd was booing him. And I'm like, okay, like 16 months later or so, he's headlining WrestleMania. And I don't know. Like, I think they've done a great job of building. I just never know if Cody Rhodes to me has ever been a WrestleMania main event type guy. You look at what that could have been. And I know The Rock versus Roman originally was kind of what I was looking at. So I think this story should be fun. I'm interested to see if there's any kind of a surprise. Like, would Heyman, after everything going on, would Heyman turn as the bloodline would break up? So I think Cody's done a really good job since getting back. I don't think he lost anything from his injury. I think that even maybe helped him gain some momentum, as you guys talked about before. But yeah, I don't know. I think it's time for the Roman Empire to come to an end for a little while. So.
Yeah, because the injury still feels fresh, right? He hasn't worn out his welcome, even though he's been back for a year because he missed so many months. We've talked a lot on the show about if he wins the title, does he sustain that momentum? It's going to be a lot more of a challenge, I think. To your point about AEW, Kyle made a great point today in our Facebook group, and I'm just going to read verbatim what Kyle wrote here since he's not on the show. And if you're not in the group, you can hear what he said. But Kyle wrote, quote, "The most anticipated Mania main event in some time due to Roman might lose and it could be a first-time world champion. Tremendous irony that a WrestleMania is being built around the legacy of Dusty Rhodes, given the ribs known as Virgil, Akeem the African Dream, and of course the polka dots. I have to say, by the modern WWE standard, the promo work here has been strong. It's clear to me that Cody clearly benefits from being in the heavily scripted environment of WWE, where he can come across as somewhat authentic, as opposed to AEW, where he was the least authentic thing on the show. Roman winning would obviously be very, very funny, but I think the Code Man takes it." So Kyle's with Cody, and yeah, to the point you were making about AEW, that made me think about what Kyle wrote, where there he did seem like too polished and almost fake, and that's why he got booed, I think, a lot of the time. Whereas in WWE, where it is so scripted, it doesn't translate in the same way. Justin, your take.
I mean, you guys have hit on a lot of my thoughts and feelings on this. It's, if not Cody, then who? Like, I don't really see anybody on the roster right now, unless, like, I love Gunter, but I don't see, I don't know how much the fans are attaching themselves to him. So I just don't know what better option you would have. The thing I'm curious about, and I was just on Twitter right before we started recording, is, boy, it sure sounds like Vince is actually back. Like, if you look at some of the stuff that's going on television and some of the things that people are posting about backstage, about like rewrites are kind of starting to happen again at a furious pace.
Yeah,
that makes me wonder, like, is Vince sold on Cody Rhodes? Because he obviously wasn't before, and he was kind of out the door. By the time that, I guess, they were both coming back at basically the same time.
Yeah.
So that makes me really wonder if Vince would just want to keep it on Roman and see if they can come up with a better option, or even if they still maybe want to do Rock down the road. And if maybe there's just some fear that the television's not going to be as exciting when Roman's not the champ. And especially when he's not on TV all the time as the champ.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I still think I'm definitely on the side of I would not risk missing out on an opportunity, to crown somebody that the crowd is obviously behind when you don't know if you have another better option.
Mhm.
I'm not as high on Cody right now as I think a lot of people. The just a little bit too much red, white, and blue going on for me. Not that I don't love my country, but it just feels a little over the top, and
Yeah.
he's just still has that Homelander stink on him, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
But yeah, no,
Some of that too is do you think some of that too, sorry to interrupt you, but is some of that WWE audience watches AEW, don't get me wrong, but a lot of them don't. And so since we watch both products and especially AEW, and we have seen so much of Cody in recent years, to them, a sizable portion of that crowd has not seen him in years. And so again, beyond the injury, he's just so fresh to them that there still is that new car smell with him. I think that's a huge part of it.
yeah.
And if he doesn't win here, I mean, does that really sink him? I don't know.
No, I don't know. I guess it depends on how the match plays out.
Yeah.
And I guess the other thing I forgot to mention, as far as like maybe guys in the future, is if you want to hold off and you want to get Roman to that, 1,000 number, is, maybe you can still pull the trigger on Sami Zayn down the road.
Or Sean mentioned in the chat, Jey Uso, and we've talked about that on the show several times, that Jey Uso has been kind of that intriguing story in the background. Him and Sammy was like the real dynamic in the group too when all of that was going on. He had the history with Roman a couple of years ago. He's shown he can succeed as a single. I would love to see Jey Uso get a big push and get into that title picture eventually. I think he's totally capable of it, given the right story. So that definitely, to Sean's point, is somewhere they could go if they don't go with Cody. I mean, I could definitely see that, because we're going to talk about the tag title match, but boy, I think Sammy and KO got to be winning there. So, who knows what happens with the Usos dynamic coming out of there and the rest of the bloodline and everything. So we'll see, but I am really intrigued for this one. And despite my excitement level for 2 full nights of WrestleMania, this one I will be hyped for. And I was going to tell people, by the way, totally forgot to mention this. Get the Bleacher Report app, because during the Roman Reigns match with Cody Rhodes, I will be on a live stream doing a watch along on the Bleacher Report app. So if you want to join in on that,
Wow.
yeah, I didn't even tell you guys about that. You can catch me on the Bleacher Report app. It's only going to be during the Roman match with Cody Rhodes. It'll be me and Jeremy Loss from the old Two Jabronis with a wrestling podcast show that he did with Ben Cruz years ago. On Blue
Awesome.
Wire.
That's really going to hurt your drinking during WrestleMania night too.
Oh no, it's not, because I will feel like I need to be primed and ready to go for the Bleacher Report audience, man. Just reacting to everything that's happening in the match. Can't have any dead air. So I'll be ready to go. Get the Bleacher Report app on your phone and tune in. That's going to be a lot of fun. So yeah, that'll be night 2, the last match.
So
Yeah,
real
go
quick,
ahead.
I just want to ask. So we all think Cody's going to win.
Yes.
Is that who we want to win? Is that who you're rooting for?
I am still intrigued by the Winged Eagle Justin Joint. Does he bring back the Winged Eagle?
That ain't happening, brother. Especially if Vince is back, that ain't happening.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. They do apparently have a new world title belt.
Oh, really? I hadn't heard that. Oh.
Yeah, that was just reported in the last 24 hours. Nobody knows what it is, but apparently management signed off on it. They don't know what it says on the belt, if they're going to keep the belts unified, and it plays into that. Could be the Winged Eagle. Who knows? But apparently there is a new title belt that has been approved.
It'd be hard not to upgrade from the current run.
Yeah. But I mean, that's the thing, though. Everything about it is being toyetic these days. Like, they want it to look like a toy for merchandise. And the old title belts were so intricate with the details. And it's not really what they go for these days.
But see, I don't like that logic, because my kid has the toy AEW belt and it looks pretty fantastic with all the detail on it.
Yeah. I mean, it has the logo pretty big in the middle, but still is so much more going on than just a big WW that It's a way better belt. So yeah, I'm still intrigued. If he did it with the classic IC years ago. Can he bring it back for a short run? We'll see. But am I rooting for it? I kind of am. I kind of just want it freshened up. I really love the work Roman Reigns has done. I do think it would be interesting though to have something different going on for a little while. So what about you, Ryan?
Yeah, I think I'm rooting for Cody just to have a little bit of a change. Like Roman's had a really pretty eventful run. I guess for my mind, who would be next for Cody if you come off of that? I'm thinking probably Randy Orton. You have the natural tie there. Roman, if Roman retains, yeah, something with the bloodline. I don't know if they would want to try to get him back to being a face and have like Sokoa turn on him or something, but I don't know. Every indication I read, he's looking to get some time off here. He's been around a lot.
I had not thought about post WrestleMania all that much as far as opponents go for Cody, and that might be a little dire. I mean, you can't go back to Seth already. They've already had I checked earlier, and I think they're at 578 matches they've had in the past year.
Yeah, I don't need to see them feuding. I know they had some great matches, but no, I don't want to see that. So it could, and that's going to be that whole question we've had is the momentum, and if he can sustain it as champion for several months, we shall see. So then we know that's going to be the final match, and there's a lot of debate about which matches are going to be at which night, what's going to headline night one, but we do know the first match of WrestleMania weekend with the 2 nights of WrestleMania, I should say, is going to be Austin Theory and John Cena, U.S. title. And we've talked a couple of weeks ago about Cena's return, the promo he cut that night, whether it was counterproductive or not. And I think, how they followed it up with Theory hasn't been great to our original.
Nothing screams, we've got confidence in you, then you have to cut a promo in front of nobody.
Yeah.
So that we can edit that shit as much as we need to.
Right. So it's still going to come down to how the match plays out in the end. I don't see John Cena winning here. He could stick around for a few weeks based on what I was looking at with his schedule. Boy, I think that would be a mistake, though. Justin?
I don't. I think so here's what I think.
Okay.
I am not sold on Austin Theory. Like, yeah. I don't think he's ever going to be anything more than mid-carder, maybe a pinch above that. I don't think he's ever going to be your world champ selling tickets.
Mm-hmm.
I would have John Cena win, and the Monday after WrestleMania, I would have John Cena do the U.S. title open challenge, and then hopefully you have Jay White debut and beat John Cena for the U.S. title.
That would be pretty spicy. I would like that.
That way,
definitely like that.
You don't
What's
have
that do for Austin Theory. My God,
who gives a shit? Fuck him.
Well, to your point though, if Vince is pulling strings, we know Vince likes him. But yeah, I mean, you mentioned that a second ago, and that is the word going around. Nobody can confirm Vince is actually making decisions, but the process backstage has been a little different in recent weeks. Last minute rewrites, people questioning where they're going, where before they had more of a long-term direction, and that all screams Vince McMahon. I mean, I'm not sold on Austin Theory either, but you have to be to put John Cena in there with him. I mean, if you're not as a company, you shouldn't put John Cena in there with him. And it's just, unless you want to totally write him off, it just seems so counterproductive for him to have cut the promo on him, which was very divisive. We talked about it 2 weeks ago. And then to have him also beat the guy. And then, I mean, that's bad.
He's still, at the very least, he's still got a match with John Cena at WrestleMania, and that's a big spotlight. I mean, it did wonders for Bray Wyatt at WrestleMania 30.
Yeah, I just don't know if it does anything for him. Mr. Huffman, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat. I'm excited to see John Cena, I guess, because you can't see him, but I'm excited. I'm excited to see Cena. I don't see him winning here. I would actually, Justin's point, he just made, I would love him to go that route. Even if he did like a defend and have Austin Theory come back and beat him that Monday night, I think we at least do more. But I don't know. I just think Theory, yeah, I don't know where they go with him if he loses that match. I don't see John being around like barely at all. I was one of them who didn't like the promo a few weeks ago. I don't know. I just didn't like the way they put it together. It didn't make a ton of sense to me, but I don't know. I don't expect this match to be very long either. Just, I think you kick it off with this to get people fired up to see. John Cena is going to get a really good response to open the show. But I think it'll be a pretty quick match, to be honest.
And that's the other thing. Are you going to kick off WrestleMania with, a mid-carder beating John Cena? I mean, open the entire weekend with John Cena losing.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess that'd be nice for quote unquote shock factor, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I think there's going to be a big portion of that crowd that would be pretty turned off by that.
Yeah. So I guess, hey, there's some intrigue there. But I mean, with the idea you pitched with the open challenge, man, that would have people talking. That would be pretty electric if they actually did that and they debut Jay White in that way. That I would really like that. We'll see. What do you guys make of this discussion about what should main event night one? Because Meltzer had in the Observer, I think it was last week, that there was a working plan that Ripley and Charlotte would main event night one. And I think we've talked about this at some point on the show, but it seems totally nuts that you wouldn't put Sami Zayn and Owens against the Usos in the other main event. I know that they're trying to be equal with the men and the women, but sometimes, man, there's something on that card that has to main event, and neither of these women's matches have the hype. Sure, there's been years where they did. Bianca's been awesome the last couple of years at Mania, of course, with Becky. You just can't make an argument for it this year. I think that would be a big mistake to put Charlotte and Rhea Ripley out there last. What do you think, Huffman?
Yeah, I'm hopeful that that's going to be the tag team match to finish. That story's been almost even better than the Cody Rhodes Roman Reigns one.
It has been. You're right.
Yeah.
So I would think it'd be a shame if you didn't finish it like that. I could also see like part of the crowd like leaving if it would finish with Rhea versus Charlotte, just because, I mean, LA, it's traffic. I think the main attraction for night one is going to be the tag match if they go that route. So
great point.
That's what I'm hoping is they finish with that.
Yeah, I think they got to. I have not seen it. Full disclosure, I've heard the last couple weeks of Charlotte and Rhea have been decent, I guess. My Twitter feed has not exactly been blowing up with footage or talk of this feud. I think it's weird because it's, Rhea wanting to come back from her loss at 36, which was ridiculous. And I think the majority of us hated the fact that she lost to Charlotte there. That was just completely nonsensical. I am really worried about what Kyle brought up on his little WrestleMania preview thread about Charlotte talking the office into a double turn that will let her remain world champion.
Should I read what he wrote here?
Yeah,
Just trying to find that. Okay. Here's what Mr. Ross said on the Charlotte situation. He says, it's an interesting one because we talk about the current WWE crowd being pretty obedient, but I sense the crowd will be with the heel, Ripley, on this one. I'd laugh if Charlotte politicked to do a double turn so she can retain. It'd be pretty hideous for Charlotte Flair to win this. Looking at what happened back in 2020 when Ripley was coming in with so much momentum. She closed out 2019 on fire, and that was terrible. So, I mean, I assumed that when they booked this match, it was to right the wrongs from 3 years ago. And so if she doesn't win, I don't know what we're doing here.
And wouldn't it be weird if like you're going to kick off night one with a heel Austin Theory beating John Cena and then cap it off with a quote unquote heel Ripley beating, the quote unquote big, bold quotes, babyface Charlotte for the championship? That just strikes me as odd.
Yeah, nobody's going to be cheering for Charlotte Flair there. Come on, don't you think? I mean, these are the hardcores of the hardcores at
Yeah.
WrestleMania for the most part. There'll be some people cheering for it, but I think overwhelmingly Ripley's going to get cheered. So yeah, I'm going to go with Ripley. Justin, you picking
Oh,
Ripley?
God. Just
Out of hope.
prayers.
Huffman.
Yeah, I'll go Ripley. I don't really have much to add. It's been a good build, but yeah, I don't see Charlotte winning. I don't think it makes sense.
And then that
But it
other
is
match.
WWE, so
Yeah. That other match, the tag titles, it's got to be Sami
Yeah.
and KO. That should be the easiest one to predict on the
Mhm.
entire card. It's got to be them. We'll see what happens with the Usos. That should be a hell of a match. We've said this many times. The Usos are one of the greatest tag teams in the history of the company. We know the history that Owens and Zayn have, going back to when they were very, very young. So yeah, the chemistry is going to be there. Should be an outstanding match. You got a main event with that one. I sure hope so, at least. This Seth Rollins Logan Paul match. So, Huffman, your thoughts? I'll just throw it to you first.
I think it'll be probably one of the better matches, just based on. I mean, Rollins always puts on a great match, and then just like Logan Paul, I mean, his few appearances, he's been pretty awesome. I've liked him in this heel role. Finally, he hasn't been trying to get people to like him, which I think is a pretty natural. So I'm pretty open to this match. I think it was a pretty easy story for him to do, the guy who loves wrestling versus the guy who's there to make money and be famous. But I've been impressed with Logan Paul the few times I was checking over. Yeah. I mean, I have Rollins winning. I think that would end that story pretty well. I would expect Logan's just going to be around probably for like WrestleMania, SummerSlam, maybe one other show a year. Yeah, it's going to be a good match.
And
Yeah,
Kyle said it on the pod before that it's a dire situation that Logan Paul comes in with so little experience and looks like one of the best wrestlers they have. Justin.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say it would be a little weird to have a part-timer come in and beat the guy who's there every week. But to your point, he's also, one of the most interesting guys on the entire roster. So I don't really know what you do there. If, maybe Logan Paul gets the win and that can be the immediate Cody feud. You try and strike while the iron's hot as far as those guys go.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you mentioned it when you were looking at Twitter for how people were reacting during Raw, and you said that like 90% of what you were seeing on the timeline was about Seth Rollins and how over he is, and the cheering along with his theme song and everything. Whatever we think about his character here on this pod, the crowd does love this character, and they love the song, and he is a solid wrestler. He hasn't been really up my alley in several years. At one time, I was a really big fan of what he was doing. It does seem like it would be pretty crazy for Rollins to not win, given how popular he is with the crowd and that he is there each and every week. David mentioned in the chat, doesn't Logan have to win a match at some point? And yeah, I mean, you look at what he's done. Of course, he lost to Roman. He did get the win over the Miz. So yeah, I mean, he didn't win the Rumble, of course, but he's so early that I think people are just impressed with what he's doing right now. I feel like he's such a star, especially in social media, that even if he loses, he'll continue to get big reactions. Now, you don't want him to wrestle 20 matches and never win, but he's only had a handful right now. So I think it would be okay. He's still getting the rub here from a veteran who's super over. So if Rollins wins, like I'm saying, if they do have Roman retain for some reason, I could see them doing Roman and Seth in the not too distant future, just because of how over Seth is right now.
Hey.
And yeah, getting a win here.
Maybe they'll bring in that other YouTube influencer who claims that WWE offered her $20 million to partake in wrestling or some bullshit like that. Maybe she can come in and help them win.
Yeah, maybe she can wrestle Charlotte Flair.
Cash that $20 million check.
I could also see, I know you talk about Seth versus Roman. I actually could see if Cody wins, I could see them doing Seth versus Cody one more time and having it be a storyline of, Seth, if I lose, I can't have another title shot as long as Cody has it, because I think Cody did that in AEW, and
except Cody's was no title shots.
Yeah.
no
He
title
lost.
shot.
But yeah, I'm basically the same
Yep.
thing.
Yep.
I wouldn't be a fan because we saw it so much, but at the same time, I could see their logic in if they have the same thought about Cody being champion as we do about this sustaining the momentum. They could be like, "Look, man, he had these great matches with Seth last year. This is a sure thing.
Mhm.
Give him this right away." I could definitely see them doing that. To your point, Ryan.
The flip side is if they're listening to the crowd sing along to Seth Rollins' entrance music, maybe they're thinking Seth is a big deal and maybe he's the guy that should dethrone Roman Reigns because he is the company man,
Through and through, for better or for worse. Yeah.
lately worse.
Yeah. So Brock Lesnar working with Omos. No Bray Wyatt for Brock Lesnar. No, he'd rather work with Omos and his limited talent.
Love Brock Lesnar.
Yeah. So any chance Omos beats Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania, Ryan Huffman?
I hope not. Brock has lost so much lately that I don't know if I actually hate this matchup as much as others, because I feel like this is one Omos, or they just want to see Omos get F5'd.
Mm-hmm.
I honestly could see this open night too with Brock coming out to get the crowd pumped up. But
yeah,
I think that would be, I mean, if Vince is back with creative, like Brock's shouldn't lose this match. But I think, I don't know. I wouldn't blame him, I guess, for not wanting to work with Wyatt if that was the original plan, or, does he squash Omos, and is this where like a Bobby Lashley says, well, now we're having a match or something? Because I got to think Bobby's doing something at Mania. I mean, he hasn't really done anything wrong in the whole situation, but
yeah.
I like Brock to win this match and just get the crowd to pop over the F5 on Omos. So
yeah. Justin?
I mean, the thing is, like, have we seen any difference in his ring quality in the past year to warrant him going from losing to Bobby Lashley last year at WrestleMania to beating Brock this year? Like, I haven't seen that uptick in personality or ring work.
No.
I
have a hard time seeing Brock Lesnar backstage saying like, yeah, I'll put him over.
Yeah, exactly. And as Ryan pointed out, Ryan H. Boy, this is going to get difficult. Who Ryan's on this podcast?
Yeah.
Brock is due for a big win. Big as in, I guess, the opponent.
Yeah, the F5 on Omos is like the only draw here.
Yeah,
really,
which is fine. I mean, that'll make for a great WrestleMania moment.
Yeah. I think it'll be short and brief. The crowd will pop. I think Brock will go over, and that'll be that. But I have seen some people picking Omos, so crazier things have happened. I just don't see it here though. So all right, let's parlay that discussion into let's go with the IC title, triple threat. We mentioned Gunther earlier. Company's very high on him. It appears that they are trying to put him on that path to becoming an eventual world title contender, if not champion down the line. He's got himself in great shape. We've kind of had the discussion on the show before on if we like that or not, but hey, it's good to see a guy in good physical condition. I wish he would have been one of those guys that they would have went back to the old name after the switch with Vince McMahon and just ditched the Gunther thing, but whatever. It's been long enough now that they're probably not going to do that. Defending against Sheamus and Drew McIntyre. And any chance of a title change here? Does Gunther hang on and continue his reign? I'll tell you guys, first of all, I think Gunther is retaining here, but it should be a fantastic match. I'll throw it to Justin here first.
I hope so. I hope he retains.
Mm-hmm.
That's my hope. I believe, this is just me reading the internet, I believe since his main roster call-up, he has not been pinned or submitted. So there is a way that, the WWE can have their cake and eat it too, with giving Sheamus his IC title that, he's been longing for and missing in his trophy case.
Mm-hmm.
And he could obviously pin Drew to do that. And then maybe they can go on a feud. Gunther can get his win back, get his title back, and continue the feud. But I would keep it on Gunther. I mean,
Yeah.
Make a star here at this WrestleMania.
Yeah, and to your point about, he could beat Drew. That makes sense. I could see him doing that. I'm sure Drew's, even though the guy's stock has fallen, since a few years ago when he had that world title run, and boy, I don't know if there's anyone that the pandemic hurt more than him, just hitting the apex of his career at the time. But I gotta tell you, I know he's probably excited to be in this match because Sheamus is one of his best friends. I'm sure he's excited to be in there with him at WrestleMania. Gunther, this hot young talent as well. But yeah, I got to go with Gunther Huffman.
I'm actually gonna go with kind of what Justin was talking about. I think I think Sheamus is gonna pin Drew, and then you're gonna have return match Gunther Sheamus down the road. And I think my actual target would be Gunther versus Cody at SummerSlam for the title.
Okay. Yeah.
That's where I think it's maybe going to go, unless Gunther would be a longer title picture with like a Royal Rumble. But I just feel like this would be a way to get the title off of him and then have him move on to kind of the next phase of his career. But that's just where I'm seeing it go.
I selfishly want Gunther to break Honky Tonk Man's record.
Yeah,
that's the only championship record that truly deserves to be broken.
Yeah, I could see any of these scenarios play out. I am looking forward to watching the match. Yeah,
it'll be good,
Justin. I'd like to see him continue the reign.
A lot of people hate on triple threat matches, but if any three guys are going to be able to pull off a good one, it's these three.
Yeah. Yeah, and sometimes they really overdo it with the triple threat matches in WWE. And when you look at this, we've got a 2-night card where we got the multi-person tag matches, but this is the only triple threat match. So it's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine in this booking. So we'll see. How about this one? Edge and Finn Balor, and now it's confirmed Finn Balor as the Demon in the Hell in a Cell. I saw some reports that they've made some changes to the Hell in a Cell for this one. Did you guys see that?
I had heard they were maybe going away from the red.
I hope so.
Oh, please.
Yes, I sure hope so, because that has been not easy on the eyes, and it was tough to believe that they continued that too. After like the first time, it got such bad feedback, and then they continued on with it. But there's been a lot of talk about Edge and where he is going moving forward. Is he done? There's been rumors about him going to AEW and joining up with Christian and doing a dream match with FTR. I think that now that you've confirmed that Balor is doing the Demon, they have to have Balor win here, because it seems like the Demon stuff doesn't have the mystique it used to. He needs a win as the Demon. It doesn't make any sense to me to put Edge over here, so I got to go with Balor. Huffman.
Yeah, I would go with Balor too. I'll be interested to see kind of the theatrics, I guess, of this match. I think that's for me the fun part of it. I don't know if I'm super interested in the actual match, but Hell in a Cell matches are cool. I was at 32 and Undertaker Shane. I wasn't super into that matchup, but usually Hell in a Cell matches deliver. But kind of see if you get any kind of run-ins there. I'm sure Judgment Day, will Edge have people that match that? I've read different stuff online about, who could be being flown to LA for it. So I'm excited for this match.
Yeah, the report is the cage is black. I just looked that up. So I went from red to black. That's according to PW Insider.
Just go back to gray steel.
I know. Just
Fuck's sakes.
Wow. What do you think, Justin? When you joined the pod, you were really high on Finn Balor. We always called you the resident Finn Balor mark. That's kind of died off in recent years, but you are wearing the Balor Club hoodie. So that tells me your pick, I think, huh?
My kid is, I think, officially super into wrestling right now. And a big part of it is because I just keep showing him Demon Balor matches because he's 5 years old. So it's like, oh, I mean, he's basically a superhero. So he's super into it. And that's my entire intrigue into this match is that, I'm excited to tell him that Finn Balor is coming back as the Demon for the first time in, I don't know, a year and a half, 2 years since he lost to Roman Reigns. To your guys' point, there's no reason for him to lose this. Even if Edge is not out the door, Finn needs this way more than him. Is it true? Like, this is going to be a Brood Edge versus Demon Balor?
So that's the rumor, is that Gangrel is supposedly going to be part of his entrance. Is that what you were talking about, Huffman?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the Gangrel's going to come back to do that entrance. And there were some people talking about Christian, but I know Christian supposedly signed a long-term deal with AEW, and I can't imagine Tony Khan signing off on that for WrestleMania. I mean, yeah.
Well, I know Christian. He's in Chicago this weekend. I know for a convention. So we'll kind of see there. I don't know the one night appearance. We'll see if something like that happens. But
I could see Tony signing off on something like that. I mean, he's a huge Christian fan.
I could see him doing like a video and like saying like that's fine. Being there in person, I guess it'd be pretty cool if he allowed it. If maybe he really is trying to break down the ultimate forbidden door. What will they do for us in return? If Vince really is in charge, they're not going to do a damn thing for you. But
it would fit the Christian thing. He just got buried by Jungle Boy in a casket, so now he's coming back as Brood Christian.
There you go. But yeah, I mean, he signed 2 years ago, and supposedly it was like a long-term deal. So he's definitely under AEW contract, as far as we know.
I just don't understand, what is Brood Edge other than the entrance? Plus, we've already seen that already. Yeah, I mean, if they had not done it already and it was leading up to that, I'd be a little bit more excited for it. But like, it's not like he was a different wrestler then. At least Finn's mannerisms in the ring are a little bit different when he's the Demon.
Mm-hmm.
But I just don't know what the Edge thing is. It's just the entrance.
So I'm still thinking about this Christian thing.
Oh.
I guess I could see it if Edge is coming to AEW. Like if they've already, his contract's coming up and that he is going to go to AEW, I could see Tony Khan saying, all right, that's fine then. We'll send Christian over there for one night because he's coming to our company pretty soon. I could see him signing off under that scenario.
And the flip side of that is WWE thinking the same thing. Oh, Edge might be leaving to go to AEW. We're not going to let a fucking AEW guy get on our, biggest show of the year.
Yeah. So there's some intrigue there, but I really can only see Tony signing off if he's got something coming back in return. But I don't know. We'll see. Crazier things have happened, so it would be pretty exciting.
The other thing I just want to say, I'm dreading this match. Just please let it be under 20 minutes. I mean, you're
gonna have the Twitter timeline where everyone's talking about it's water torture, and then Ryan Satin talks about how great it is.
I can just see the world where it's 30 minutes long. The violence is the PG version that WWE has been doing for years in these Hell in a Cell matches. I mean, how many truly memorable Hell in a Cell matches have we had in the past 10 years?
They allowed it to get so watered down.
Yeah.
With just doing it because we got to do it, that they're not even memorable anymore.
I mean, I think people like the one with Seth Rollins and Edge.
Yeah.
From, what was that, a year ago or so? But I don't know. Just, they're stinkers for the most part.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm taking Balor. I don't think it makes any sense to put Edge over here. So, all right, what have we not talked about on this 2-day?
You're missing one of my most anticipated matches.
Well, we got to talk about the other women's match. That's one of them.
No, we don't need to talk about
Ray and Dominic.
Yeah.
All right.
That was a fantastic segment when Ray finally hit Dom.
I think it's going to be a really good match. We've been really hard on Dom on the show, but he has improved. And obviously, he's working with his father, who's going to do everything he can to make him look like $1 million. We've seen when Dominic has an opponent that's trying to do everything for him, that he looks really good. Go back to his debut. So I think it'll surprise me. I think it's going to be a solid match. What do you think, Huffman?
Yeah, I mean, you were saying that this is something good for Dom. Like even Ray, like this is probably the most exciting thing they've had for Rey Mysterio in quite a while. Kyle Ross said earlier today, and I commented on it, there's a little bit of the Bret Hart, Owen Hart match vibe here to me, where I'm like, okay, like, is Dominic going to steal a win at the end, and where would that project him? Because I feel like a win for him does a lot more than a win for Ray. Just kind of a fun fact too, that this kind of hit me today, where kind of shows my age of how much I've watched wrestling. But the last time WrestleMania was in Hollywood, it was Eddie versus Ray. So now you're kind of getting a family feel there too. So pretty cool. So
yeah, I'm gonna go with Dom, but I am looking forward to it. I am a little surprised. I'm looking forward to a Dominic Mysterio match, but for all the reasons you laid out, Huffman, you know, the build has been good. He's gonna have a great dance partner here. It's WrestleMania. Justin?
I mean, this is the kind of match where, you know, everybody involved, not just Ray and Dom, but anybody that's going to put together this match, they're going to put the time in to tell the right story, to make sure it's laid out almost beat for beat, so that these guys can put on the best possible show, especially for Ray in his Hall of Fame weekend.
Yeah.
I will also say some of the Dominic, like I was really down on him, and I'm still not super, you know, supportive of him, but some of his prison stuff has been some of the funniest things on WWE TV, where he starts talking about his time in prison, and I mean that has been great. So
oh yeah,
the best references to American prisons since the Mountie back in '91.
Yeah.
SummerSlam 91, where he's screaming, grabbing the bars.
I mean, Stewart would probably get mad at us for not, you know, bringing up nails.
Oh yes, that's true. Stewart, I apologize. All right. All right. I mentioned the Raw Women's title, Bianca Belair and Asuka. We've had a little talk on this. Asuka, to me, you know, Kyle's joked about, oh yeah, what do? You gave her a different face paint, treat her a little bit more seriously. But yeah, it's pro wrestling. I think they have made her more legitimate again. I am more interested in her character than I have been in quite some time. That said, I don't think she should beat Bianca Belair. I think that would just be doing a title change to do a title change. I think Belair certainly has trailed off. You know, the creative really hasn't been there for her like it had the previous couple years going into WrestleMania. But she still is one of the best talents they have on the female side. And while Asuka is solid and she has been in a better spot in recent months, I don't see a real argument to do a title change here. Ryan Huffman.
Yeah, I think Bianca wins. I think even just if you are going to have Rhea take the title off Charlotte, I don't think you're going to have both champions lose here. Asuka's done a good job, but I don't really see her as somebody they're looking to really elevate.
Yeah. Mr. Joint.
Don't really care about this match. The more interesting topic, I think, to your point, Ryan D, that is.
Yes.
Talking about Bianca Belair cooling off. Which women's wrestler doesn't or hasn't cooled off since last year? I mean, the entire division feels cooled off. Nobody is hotter than they were a year ago.
Yeah. No. For sure. I mean, well, Ripley's more interesting now than she was. but she's not where she was a few years ago.
Yeah.
You know, to your point, she's not at that level. Asuka feels more serious again, but not title, like not champion ready.
It would just be weird for her. She's a baby face, right? She's been acting like a baby face.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, people cheer.
For her to beat the big baby face that you've been building for years, that would just seem really odd to me.
Yeah, I wouldn't like that. No, I got to go with Bianca retaining here. Yeah, what we have like the multi-person matches left, and I don't really have any deep thoughts on them. You know,
Do
we
you
got
mean the
Trish.
showcase match? Oh, I'm sorry that you were talking the 6.
Well, before we get to those, yeah, we got the Trish, Lita, and Becky match against Damage Control. Again, I just don't have
care.
much on this. I mean, I'm probably gonna go with Damage Control on this one, but it doesn't really matter. Yeah, it doesn't really matter though. I mean, whatever. I mean, it's Becky is Becky, but you got two legends in there, you know, who can still go, but again, they're older. I got to go with the aggregate younger team here, I guess. I'll go with Damage Control, but it doesn't really matter either way. Ryan?
Bad look for Becky Lynch to lose a second WrestleMania in a row.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Damage Control. I don't really have too many thoughts on this. I think Damage Control, just because I'm not sure what it really does for Becky, Trish, Lita. I don't know if you would, if they're looking to have Trish around for like a match with Becky, like this could maybe have like you could get a Trish heel moment. I'm not sure, but yeah, I don't really have too many thoughts on this match. I don't think it's been a bad build, to be honest, for the just kind of a random matchup. But the reason I'm taking Damage Control is because I actually see Bayley being back in the title picture.
Yeah.
It just seems like a weird use of, you know, who is your biggest women's star in Becky Lynch. Like you're just putting her in a 6 women's match. I don't know. It's just odd to me.
Do you think they still see her as the biggest star? That could be a talking point.
No,
too.
I don't think so. No,
I think that she is when pushed. I think that she's still, well, there's an argument for Bianca Belair. I think Belair can be a kind of transcendent star too with the mainstream. Has a great look, great personality. But yeah, boy, look at Becky over the last few years. I mean, to me, it all started when they put her with Seth Rollins on TV. You acknowledge that real relationship, and it was all downhill from there. At least she's gotten away from that goofy character she was doing, which was just fucking terrible. So at least she's gotten away from that, and they could rehab her. I'm sure she likes being in there with the legends and stuff, but boy, yeah, this is definitely not the best use of Becky Lynch. So in the end, I don't think it really matters, but I like your point, Huffman, too, about getting Bayley into the title picture. Makes sense to me. Yeah, the showcase matches. Oh boy.
that'll do it for the show, everybody. Good night.
Still better
than showcase matches, wrapping it up. Yeah.
Still better than stupendous.
Honestly, I have no thoughts on the matches. I'll just pick a winner and move on. So the women's, Liv Morgan and Raquel versus Natty and Shotzi versus Ronda and Shayna versus Chelsea Green and Sonya Deville. Liv Morgan's team, because out of all those people, she's the most over. So give Liv Morgan a win on WrestleMania. I see you nodding, Ryan Huffman. You agree?
Yeah, I'd agree.
Justin, if you had to pick.
Nope, don't care. And I'm not going to pick on principle. I refuse to. I don't understand why they didn't make a bigger deal out of the fucking battle royals, especially the Andre. That's how you get all these, you know, how you get everybody on the card, which they're so desperate to do. I know they probably don't have enough women to be able to throw into a battle royal, but showcase, who cares?
You know, to your point on that, when I was researching for the WrestleMania 17 show that we did last night, and I was reading people's thoughts on the show just to kind of clarify with my own thoughts, and I read a recent review someone had done about WrestleMania 17, and they commented on God, which match was it? I think it was Jericho and Regal. It was either Jericho and Regal or the Hardcore. It might have been Jericho and Regal though. And the person reviewing it was like, "Oh, it was a fine match, but this would never be seen as WrestleMania worthy today." And I was thinking, what are you talking about? Everybody gets on WrestleMania today. They get the whole freaking roster on that show. Who is this person? Because
Oh,
you're
that's
right.
dumb.
So dumb. They have to get every single person on the show. So look, if they're going to do like a 6-hour WrestleMania, yes, I would rather have it be across 2 days. But in the end, like theoretically, I don't like a 2-day WrestleMania. I would like a one-night WrestleMania with 8 or 9 matches, the cream of the crop. I hate this idea that you got to get every single person on the show. And this is a true indictment of it because I don't know who the hell could possibly care about these matches. It just screams, get me on the show. Just like, what the Andre Battle Royal had turned into before. And that was something they could have actually made something of, and it just became a total throwaway.
They just needed stakes. Even if it was just, hey, you get the shot at the title at the next pay-per-view. Who cares? You have 12 freaking pay-per-views. Throw one main event away.
Yeah, it's been disappointing how that match has been handled. Just because I remember, at 30, like Cesaro coming off of that had a ton of momentum. I'm like, oh, this guy with Heyman.
Where's my tissue box? Hold on, keep talking, Ryan.
He's a SummerSlam main event. Like I remember, like I was at WrestleMania 30, and like people were just going nuts for Cesaro winning the Andre, and I'm like, oh, this is a natural fit, and then nothing. So
yep, that was one of my happiest moments ever watching a WrestleMania match, was because it was so unexpected, and anybody who'd been watching the product for a long time was like, it had some sort of investment into Cesaro's future, and then just nothing.
Yeah.
It was just, they just used him to keep Heyman on the screen so he could brag about Brock Lesnar beating the Undertaker.
Yeah. I found the column I was referring to here. I just went in my history. I had to pull this up. This was this article was actually talking about the 6-man Taz and APA against Right to Censor, and it said this standard tag team match wouldn't find its way anywhere near the card in this day and age. Are you kidding me? Look at the matches we're talking about. Of course that would be on the card today.
It is.
These matches have less going for them than that one did. Yeah, that was a bad take. All right. Men's WrestleMania showcase. Braun Strowman and Ricochet versus the Street Profits versus Alpha Academy versus the Viking Raiders. I'll go with the Street Profits. No real thoughts. Ryan Huffman?
Yeah, I think it's just I think that's a pretty natural pick. I'll go that one too. No real reason for me. Just they're probably the most over of those groups. They're probably the only one over with those groups. But yeah, Street Profits.
Yeah. Justin, not going to pick.
No. I mean, I'm just hoping for like some story to come out of this, which is why like the Street Profits are the only one I don't want to see win this. I would like to see a breakup. Yeah. Like that should be the story of the match.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really care who wins.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. Just like the women's match, it doesn't matter.
I hope the APA and Jacqueline come out and win the match.
Yeah. So, yeah, then they would be WrestleMania worthy, right? Adam asks, who's being inducted into the Hall of Fame this year? All right. Rey Mysterio, the Great Muta, Stacy Keibler, recently announced, and Andy Kaufman in the Celebrity Ring, which Andy Kaufman one is way overdue for sure. Yeah, Rey Mysterio, obviously. Muta obviously deserves it. Stacy Keibler, I mean, she was a pretty big star for the women in that era. It was pretty obvious she was going in when she randomly showed up on social media again after like years away. Hey guys, how's it going? Just checking in or something like that the other day. When I saw that, I was like, she's going in the Hall of Fame. Definitely. So big weekend of shows. You got that on Friday night. You got the 2 nights of WrestleMania. You got all the indie shows. You got ROH Super Card of Honor on Friday night, which is a hell of a card. You got Claudio and Eddie Kingston for the world title. You got what else is on that show? Joe and Mark Briscoe, Yuta and Shibata.
The Reach for the Sky, unfortunately, ladder match, but I love that they utilized Jay's catchphrase into the match. It's just kind of poetry.
Yeah. Vikingo is on the show against Commander, AAA Mega Championship. We've got Athena and Yuka Sakazaki. You've got what else is on there?
I mean,
The
this
against
is
Air
a pro
Fox.
wrestling card.
That's gonna be a hell of a show. I don't know if I want to pay $40, but man, I don't know.
I'm pulling the trigger on that one. I think
I've ordered some of them. I mean, I ordered the one last summer. Me and you watched that one, Justin, together.
Yep.
So I shouldn't say $40. It's not like they're every month anymore. I might do it.
I mean, shit, to watch Eddie Kingston become world champion. And that's a Claudio fan saying that. I mean, man, that's worth the price of admission alone if it happens.
Speaking of which, I got to go get that Eddie Kingston figure you sent me the picture of at Walmart the other day. I didn't get there today. I got to do that. Ryan Huffman, I hope you have a safe trip, sir. I hope you have a great time out there. It was a lot of fun having you on the show. We got to have you back sooner again. Justin.
Ryan, are you going to any other Ryan H? Are you going to any other shows while you're there?
We're hitting up WrestleCon on Saturdays, Friday and Saturday. My biggest meet and greet I'm getting there is Bryan Danielson. Sorry. Mm-hmm. So I was at WrestleMania 30 when I won the title. I got a really cool 11 by 14 of him holding both the titles. So I'm hoping to get that signed. And actually we're just doing a lot of different LA stuff. We're going to like an LA Dodgers game Friday night.
Oh, okay. So you're doing that instead of ROH.
Yeah, I did do a ROH show, WrestleMania 32 weekend, and trying to remember the 4 teams in, but it's one of the best tag team matches. Had Briscoe's Young Bucks, Motor City Machine Guns, might have been like the Kingdom or something. I know that show was like headlined by Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly. So it's like Super Card of Honor, the second day of it. So no, just kind of seeing the sights, looking forward to a little warmer weather. Not that it's real warm out there. It's pretty rainy, but
hey, I would recommend when you go on your little vacation here, don't get food poisoning. That's my recommendation.
No.
I was debating if I was going to mention that or not. Yes, listeners know that Justin and I were going to New Orleans, not the best trip for your host here, yours truly, because we got down there and we went out the first night. Night one, we had one meal that day. You know, we had flights all day. We get down there, we couldn't find anywhere to eat. We finally found a place. It was like our last choice, but it was like a block off Bourbon Street or something. It was down in the middle of it. And we ate it, I don't know, it was like 10 o'clock at night or something. And about 6 o'clock the next morning, I woke up and I vomited many times the next day for about 12 hours. I missed our whole second day. I was out of it. It was not good. And then we had one more full day. And I was recovering. I mean, I could eat and stuff again, but I still didn't feel right. It was very disappointing. And then we had some serious travel problems getting back the day after that with I think I messaged you on Snapchat, didn't I, Ryan, when all that was going on?
Yeah, it looked like you were having a great time with that lovely flight we will not mention, but
we were supposed to fly back New Orleans, Denver to Des Moines, and that first flight got pushed back so many times we couldn't make the connection, and we ended up flying to DC to Omaha. We then had to rent a car, Justin and I and our wives, to drive from Omaha to Des Moines to get our car that we left in Des Moines and then drive back to where we live. Ended up being like we got to the New Orleans airport at like 7:30 and we got home at like 12:30 at night.
Yep.
We looked it up and it would have actually been faster for us to have rented a car in New Orleans and driven back to Iowa that day. Yeah. So There was fun to be had. Justin had a great time, but for me, it was ultra disappointing because of the food sickness. Yeah.
And I think we've taken care of all the bad Top Rope Nation travel karma for you, Huffman. So I think you're going to have a fantastic trip.
Yeah,
I hope so.
I was gonna say food poisoning wise, I don't know how bad In-N-Out Burger can go, so that's probably gonna be my
Oh, I've never had that.
Yeah, I don't know. It's pretty solid. I would take Five Guys over In-N-Out Burger, but I don't know. It's just kind of one of those when you're out west, like Denver, Las Vegas, California. It feels like it's just one of those. It's like going to Dallas and having to get Whataburger. So
I've had it once in Vegas. So I mean, I'm just saying, Justin, join. If you want to go to Vegas in a couple of months, we could get In-N-Out Burger. But
they can and want are two very different things.
But don't you feel so bad for me after this New Orleans experience?
I do,
you're like, man, you got to have another trip now.
That's why AEW is going to be having a big show in New Orleans in the next couple of years to make up for it.
Hopefully. I hope so. The Ricky Starks world title crowning should be in New Orleans.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. Huffman, this is great, man. You always fit right in, do a great job. Hope the listeners enjoy it. Hope all the people watching on the video feed enjoyed it. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Subscribe to SE Scoops. Get all your news heading into WrestleMania at SEScoops.com. And support the show, patreon.com/Top Rope Nation. That almost 3-hour show Justin and Kyle and I did on Mania 17. The video is up right now for patrons. You can hear the podcast version here within a couple of days. And I'm sure it's going to get rave reviews. It was a great, great time. So that is the best way to support the show. Get all the bonus content. We've got over 100 bonus podcasts the minute you sign up to become a patron. David saying TRN gathering in Philadelphia. You know, I've been to Philadelphia once. That's where WrestleMania is next year. I would love to go back as a history teacher. I'm going to consider it. I'll consider it, David.
I hope the main event is Roman Reigns winning a Royal Rumble.
Yes, the perfect place to do it. Yes, the lineage of Roman and Royal Rumbles in Philly. Oh man, David says do it.
I think he's referring to you coming out. Yeah.
There's always a little delay with the chat with the video. All right, everybody. We hope you enjoy WrestleMania. Tune in Sunday morning as we recap night 1, and then Monday morning as we recap night 2. Those will be live on the SE Scoops channel as always, and then on demand on the YouTube Top Rope Nation channel. This has been episode 290 of Top Rope Nation for Ryan Huffman and Justin Joint. I'm Ryan Drosty. We'll talk to you again real soon. Take care.